Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, how was the game?
It was good. Not so good. So-so.
What makes a rugby game a good game?
Well,
Or I guess it's kind of like what makes any game a good game?
the score,
So, what was the score at the end of this game?
Japan is 3 and North Africa is 20, 31 or 28 or something.
Okay, so one way you could describe a team's score, I'll just describe a couple of different ways. So, Japan had, what was it, 3? 3?
3.
Oh. Okay, Japan had 3, and North Africa, that's the name of the team? Okay, and North Africa had 28. So you can say had. If the game is still on, you can say have. Or has. Actually, you would say has because it's third person singular, but it's the verb to have. So conjugated, it would be has. So Japan. If I called you in the middle of the game, I said, "What's the score? What is the score? What's the score?" You would say, "Well, Japan has 3, and North Africa has 16 at the time." Well, let's just say, for example. Okay. Another way you can describe it is you want to say the winning team, or the team that is, if it's during the game is still on, you're watching the game, and I called and said, "Who's winning?" You can say, North Africa is up by, and then the difference between the scores. If North Africa has 6 points and Japan has 3, you can say North Africa is up by 3. So that's the difference between the scores. So another way of saying that is North Africa's winning 6-3. So you would say the winning team and then the score. North Africa's winning 6-3. Or at the end of the game, after the game, like right now, you could say North Africa won 28-3. I know, ow. It hurts to even say that.
No.
Well, it's funny. It's funny we're talking about sports. I watch American football, which in America we just call football. So I watch football. And I typically don't watch college football. But yesterday, my friend ended up getting tickets to go see her son at college. No, she ended up getting tickets to see a college football game. Her son attends that college.
Whoa.
Her son was not playing football. I learned. So we were texting back and forth about the game, and I turned on the television, and the game is on television. It was on the sports channel.
Yay.
Well, what I discovered was that this team, it's Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is a college in southwestern Virginia. They're, I want to say an engineering school. They're a highly sought after program, I think, throughout the world for engineering of various sorts, and it's a huge college, a huge campus, and a very skilled football team. So people want to attend Virginia Tech for many reasons, and it's a great school. My ex-husband actually went there. but not for engineering.
Oh.
Not for engineering. He got a liberal arts degree. We can talk about that in a little while. Anyway, when you go to, it's like this little club. When you go to Virginia Tech, or if you have associations with Virginia Tech, you support Virginia Tech, you wear Virginia Tech colors, and you can go to any restaurant in Virginia and see somebody with a Virginia Tech jacket or Virginia Tech hat or Virginia Tech ribbon and know they have some association with Virginia Tech. Maybe they have a bumper sticker with Virginia Tech on their car, or maybe they have a license plate. So people get really attached to the school they go to. And I don't know if that's nationwide throughout the United States, but in Virginia, you see a lot of people associating with their college that they went to with their clothing and other decor. Anyway, so that's Virginia Tech. And then the other team, the team they were playing against, was North Carolina. North Carolina happens to be my friend's favorite team for college football.
Whoa.
I'm not going to say his name, but I know you know who I'm talking about. Okay, so it's his favorite team. So I'm watching the game, and my friend Betty is at the game. And she wants Virginia Tech to win because her son goes there. And I'm watching the game thinking, I kind of hope North Carolina wins. Nothing against Betty, but really I didn't care who won at the end of the day. But, as I was watching the game, I was secretly rooting for North Carolina. This friend of mine is a sports fan, especially football, and none of his teams have been doing really well this year. Oh, it's been bad. It's been really bad. Anyway, my point is this. The game was close. By the time I discovered that the game was on television, they were tied 31-31. And then the game ended. What happens when the game ends and they're tied? You go into overtime. They went into overtime 6 times. Because one team would score and one team would score and they would tie again. And then the other team would score and they would score and they would tie again and again and again and again. 6 times. So finally, and I finally turned off the television and went about my life and did other things. And I texted my mom and I were texting back and forth because she doesn't have the sports channel. So I was telling her the play-by-play. Oh, Virginia Tech just kicked a field goal, or Virginia Tech just missed a field goal. North Carolina just made a field goal. North Carolina just missed a field goal. North Carolina scored. Oh no, they're challenging it. So every text I'm sending my mom, every little detail is called the play-by-play. Every little detail of the game. And I said to her, Mom, I hope I'm not boring you with the details with the play-by-play. And she said, oh no, not at all. I love a good game. So a good game, I think, is when the score is really close. And the score of this game was really close for 6 overtimes. I didn't even know. I didn't even know you could go into 6 overtimes. I've never seen that before in my life. So who won? Was it Virginia Tech or was it North Carolina? The suspense.
North Carolina?
No, they did not. No, it was Virginia Tech. I think at the end of the game, Virginia Tech won by 2 points. And listen to the
Ooh.
grammar I'm saying here too. They won by 2 points. Virginia Tech won 43 to 41. Yeah.
That close.
That I know, it was very exciting. And then I mean, but it kept going on and on and on. And if I really, really wanted either team to win, like if I really wanted North Carolina to win, I would have watched it. But I kind of just said, I wasn't bored, but it was just this constant, one team would score and then they would come up, and I think this is what you call one-ing someone up, which is a whole other like grammar thing I also want to talk about. There's 2 things now I wanted to mention. Okay, so they scored and then they scored and tied, and then they scored and then they scored and tied, and then they scored and then they scored, and it just kept going. So I said, it was about 7:30 at night in the evening. And I said, oh, I have a lot of work to do. I'll tell you all the work I did too. Ooh, I did housework, not cleaning. What's the word? Why do I keep saying what's the word today? Don't I speak English? Isn't that my native language? What's the word? I want to renovate my basement. So I've started deconstructing my basement.